Let's start with who needs to file their taxes and how accurate should they have? What kind of information should they have when they're filing for their taxes?
For individuals, so companies and trusts have to file. If they're registered, they have to file. But when it comes to individuals, SARS have obviously implemented the auto assessment. So if you work full-time, you're going to get auto assessed. And if you earn an income, there are certain levels under which you don't have to submit. But my recommendation is if you're earning an income, submit your return. There is the argument for students who earn a small income, or maybe if you're retired and you're still earning a small bit of income that you don't have to submit. But for most individuals who are earning an income, you do want to submit your return and make sure that you're compliant.
I'm going to pick up on that. So my son is a student, but he does extra work for film shoots and things like that. So he actually gets taxed. So if you do any freelance work or anything like that as a student, they usually deduct 25% tax, right?
Correct.
So he has to do a tax return in order to get back his money. So actually, probably most people, even if they're a student.
There are certain student work that, like working weekends at a restaurant where you don't get an RP5, they don't deduct tax, and usually it's less than 100,000 for the year. At the moment it goes over 100,000, or you're working for a corporate where they are going to deduct the freelancer tax, then it is a good idea to submit your return, because often the amount of work that you've done versus the tax that you've paid doesn't coincide, and then you could get a refund. So obviously the benefit of filing your return is that if you don't, you aren't going to get your refund. But if you do file your return, there is a chance that you would get your refund.
And for me, it kind of brings me to the idea of people who are on social media. I mean, they have the students who are earning over 200,000 sometimes. Should they be worried about the tax man? Should they be filing at all if they say, this is just a little side hustle. I'm on Instagram posting for a company, getting an income. What is best practice there?
Best practice is obviously to file, but the point is like that type of income where the income doesn't go through a traditional employer and no pay as you earn is deducted, it goes straight to your bank account. Or in a case of foreign companies, it could go to like a Wise account, or it could go to a PayPal. People think that SARS don't know about it, yes. But it is kind of a good idea to say, okay, listen, as an honest citizen, I have earned 200,000. Should I declare? And the answer is yes. And then to find out what's the best way to go about that. In terms of the information sharing, I'm not 100% sure whether the banks are actually providing SARS with the direct info that you have passed 300,000 through your bank account. But the point is, if that happened and you're not telling SARS anything, why? It's better to be upfront with them, and then like you can get some additional help to pay less. But I wouldn't risk it, so to speak, because SARS is getting better at that information gathering.
And let me tell you, what they do, right? Say, for example, for 5 years, you've not declared your income. They go back and they add penalties and they add interest and they add all of these things. And when they do find you, because they probably will eventually find you, right? The technology is getting better. You go and you buy a car, for example. You've got to go and show your income to the bank. Somewhere along the line, they'll find you. And they love it. That's when it gets juicy for them, because they have mounted up years and years of penalties and interest. So I agree, Andre. I don't even think you should risk it. I really don't.
And I mean, I know a couple of people who've been in that position. And trust me, when they get you, they are like a dog with a bone and they will not let go.
They've just been given 7 billion rand to find people, just by the way. So they're coming out after us. I wouldn't. That's why we get so anxious.
That's why exactly. That's why I get so nervous when it comes to SARS.
No, but this is exactly that specific wording, and this is actually what triggered the change. The wording "SARS is coming after me" that is something that financial media says, but it's not actually true. SARS do not do door knocking. They're a technological firm. They don't have enough staff to send people after people. You might get a letter or a notification on e-filing to say that you haven't, or your tax profile shows that you haven't filed for 3 years. That is what happens. They don't, on the odd chance you've had crypto that you haven't declared for 4 years, there's a crypto audit, and SARS have been doing that. But there's no such thing as SARS is coming after you, almost like a ghost going to people's houses. That's not, it's not the 1980s anymore. So, and it's also the IRS goes to people. South Africa, SARS doesn't go to people.
Yeah.